Welcome to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Well, folks, we've hit the end of the regular season for both hockey and for the NBA, which means both the Wolves and Wild are in the playoffs, which is something we're going to talk about today. I've got a great show for you. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the Vikings draft plans. The draft is 1 week away. My favorite time of the year. It's going to be crazy. Anyway, but I'm going to talk about the Wolves, the Wild. My son wants to jump on and talk a little bit about college hockey, some of the awards that were handed out, in particular the Mike Richter Award. He is very adamant that it should have gone to Alex Tracy instead of Jacob Fowler from Boston College. So we're going to hear from him here in a little bit. But anyway, we're going to talk about all of those kinds of things. Going to talk about, like I said, we're going to talk about that the Wild's playoff match against the Vegas Golden Knights. I know I was on with the Neutral Zone last week talking about whether I thought the Wild were going to make the playoffs, and I was pretty adamant that they were going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to be a little bit in a bit of a tough spot when that series actually gets started here this coming weekend. I don't know that they're going to make a lot of noise, but I hope that they're going to make things a little bit challenging for Vegas because Vegas has been really good against them, and I think the Wild haven't beat them in the last at least 5 matchups. So going back to last not even last season before, so 2023 season, or the 22-23 season, I think was the last time that they beat Vegas. But the big one that's coming up is the Wolves against the Lakers. With the 3-6 matchup, the Wild or the Wolves won on Sunday to secure the 6th seed in the playoffs, which was a fantastic day to watch some basketball. It was just a lot of fun. So that was really cool to see. Anyway, so we're looking forward to going to talk about that, and I know I'm going to be probably going on a little bit of a limb, but I'm going to talk about why I think the Wolves are going to beat the Lakers in that playoff series. So anyway, that's going to be a lot of fun too. We'll talk a little bit about the Twins. Not much going on there. Lots of losing, lots of injuries, but they did call up a young prospect, Luke Keeschel. Talk a little bit about him, and so we'll talk about all of those things when we come back from this quick break. Again, you're watching the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at @sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Thanks again to our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Beef Jerky. Again, if you haven't tried it, you got to try it. It's absolutely fantastic. I always just got some more in delivered last week, and it is phenomenal. Like I said in my previous episodes, I always keep a bag or two in my desk at work and a couple of bags here. My wife loves it. It's a great protein snack. It's all premium beef brisket jerky. It's absolutely fabulous. So definitely check that out. Also check out all of our other sponsors, Vital Apparel. If you're getting into need some new workout gear, that's a great place to go to get that stuff. They have great specials, and part of their proceeds for the sales go toward mental health. So helping with people with mental health is always huge. Use the code IESR and get 15% off of your order for some great, comfortable workout gear. So Seal the Deal Wax Seals, Cecilia B. If you got the special occasion coming up where you're sending out invitations or thank you notes to, for whatever reason, you got a wedding coming up or birthday, whatever, and you're going to send out some invitations. You want to have something that make it just a little bit better. You can invest in some of those wax seals. And again, make sure you follow us on all of us here on IE Sports Radio. Here's my X handles, right? So bold north _ IESR, or my personal Twitter page or X is Gritter13. Hey, check me out there. And also we got to make sure talk about our newest sponsor being Raw Nutrition Supplements. So go to getrawnutrition.com and use the promo code IESR and get 10% off of your order. So that's another one where I have one of those protein shakes every morning. They have some great grass-fed whey, new flavor. Let's see, we just got in was a dark chocolate, and I saw a new email that they have a salted caramel flavor as well. So if that's your jam, check them out. So anyway, and then again, just gonna let everybody know, again, here's my X handle. If you like the show, you want to be a supporter, feel free to join the supporters club. And for $5 a month, you can I'll just put that up here. For $5 a month, you can become a supporter of my show. And it also helps all of the other shows here on the IE Sports Radio Network. We've got 30 shows all across the country, from coast to coast, north and south. We've got every major sports market and every major sport covered. We've even got some people covering some of those not so major sports. And it's a great thing. So if you want to become a supporter, I definitely encourage you to do that. And before I get in, for those of you that don't know, I've got my son Noah here sitting next to me. He's a huge Minnesota State Mankato hockey fan, so you can see his little jersey there. I'll get that out of the way so that everybody can see that a little bit better. And he after the recent NCAA awards were handed out, he came to me and he goes, "Dad, I want to go on your next podcast because the fact that Alex Tracy did not win the Mike Richter Award and Jacob Fowler from Boston College won it." He's like, I gotta air my piece because I'm just so upset about it. So I asked him to come on the show and share with me his reasons as to why he thought Alex Tracy from Minnesota State Mankato should have won the award over Jacob Fowler. So tell me, what was it that made you think or led you to believe that Alex Tracy deserved that?
I mean, in all aspects of college hockey, Alex Tracy was the best goaltender in college hockey last season. He won the CCHA Goaltender of the Year by a landslide, led Mankato to a McDonald Cup, Mason Cup, soon NCAA playoff bid for the first time in 2 years. He led NCAA in goalie wins, had the greatest save percentage, and was the second best in wins. Second best in wins, led the NCAA in goals against average and save percentage. Jacob Fowler was like top 5 in each of these categories, top 3 in one of them. He plays for Boston College. When we talk about the Mike Richter Award, it goes to for a couple different things. For one, the conference, which was the obvious reason why Fowler won. The value to the player that it has to a team, the stats, and overall team success. With Boston College, they have an incredible team, one of the best teams in the nation. Ryan Leonard just signed with the Capitals. He's out playing. He's in the NHL. He's a great scorer. This team has so many great scorers that if they score 6 goals a game, you don't need good goaltending to win. Mankato, Red Pitlick, I love Mankato, but they did not have great scorers. To win, they need an Alex Tracy good game, and that happened every single time he went out. He had the greatest goals against that average. He pitched so many shutouts last season that makes him the greatest goaltender in college hockey. He was also the only goaltender nominated for the Hobie Baker. He was just so much better.
Well, and tell me, didn't Minnesota State Mankato lead the all of Division I in fewest goals given up as a team?
Yes. I mean, with Mankato was known as going into the matchup against Western Michigan was known as the greatest defense in all of college hockey. They gave up the least amount of goals on average and in total. This was the best defensive team, and they were led by Alex Tracy. And going into that, the NCAA tournament, I think, should also hold some reason for the award nomination. Western Michigan was the national champions last year. Alex Tracy took them to double overtime, only gave up 2 goals, and had 42 saves. Jacob Fowler was a second-round exit with Boston College, lost to Denver. He gave up 3 goals to Denver, gave up 3 in round 1, in which they won 4-3. Against Cornell? So I can't remember the exact team, but Fowler gave up more goals in those games than Alex Tracy, and Alex Tracy almost took out Western Michigan, the NCAA champions that year. I guess the only thing going forward for Jacob Fowler was the conference again, playing in the Hockey East, a SAC division, and Alex Tracy played in the CCHA, and the fact that they take away from the CCHA, it just doesn't make any sense. The Mankato Mavericks have dominated the CCHA for the past few years. If you're going to penalize Alex Tracy and the rest of the team for playing in such a crappy division, then promote us to the NCHC, I think we would still be competitive in that division as well. It just doesn't make sense to me.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Okay. Noah, as you don't know this, but he is actually usually a pretty quiet guy. But when it comes to certain sports and when he has an opinion on things, he lets it all go. So anyway, thanks for joining in and for sharing your opinion.
Thank you for having me.
But we're going to jump in and talk a little bit more about some of the other hockey things going on, right? So the Wild, beat Anaheim on Tuesday night in overtime to secure that first wild card spot, which means that they're going to be playing against the Vegas Golden Knights, who have had their number. I know that the Wild and Vegas faced off in the playoffs 2 seasons ago, I believe, and the Wild held their own. They took them to Game 7, I believe. Took them pretty far anyway. Didn't then end up winning it, and the Wild have not advanced out of the first round in over 10 years. So, not expecting a huge, expecting them to kind of regain their form from before all of the injuries that happened. It was the first month of the season. The Wild were very good. Everything was clicking. They were just pretty much dominating. And had like the best record in the NHL. They had the Kirill Kaprizov was, I think he ended up finishing the season with fifth in the NHL for points per game. And considering he missed over half the season, that was pretty amazing. So when he was, early on, I think he had through 27 games, he had 52 points or something along those lines before he got hurt. And then since he came back, hasn't been quite as strong, but we're going to see how things go. But I think, talent wise, Vegas has the advantage. I mean, when you've got guys like Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, Jose Theodore Pietrangelo. I mean, some of these guys are just really just top notch. So as far as a prediction, the Wild have a few guys, right? They've got Kirill Kaprizov. They've got Matt Boldy, who is really stepping up. He had that overtime winner against Anaheim. Marco Rossi, Joel Eriksson-Ek. Again, he's back healthy now. The key to me is if the defensemen can play as well as they did early in the season. They've got some really pretty good defensemen, the Wild do. I think Jake Middleton and Brock Faber were kind of that top defensive pairing. Faber had a little bit of a down year after being, the runner-up to the Calder Trophy last year. I actually think he should have won it, but Anyway, he took a little bit of a step back, but part of that was because he was being asked to carry the defensive load for quite a bit, just with all the injuries, right? I mean, they were just dealing with a lot of those kinds of things. So, anyway, in my mind, I think it's going to be Vegas in 6. I do think that the Wild are going to be able to pull out a game or two. I know I'm really anxious to see what Zeev William is able to do. The rookie from Denver, they signed him right before the end of the season. He did not play against Anaheim in the final regular season game, even though he was signed. He's gotten a chance to practice with the team now. And one interesting thing that they were talking about on the radio today is that he was practicing with the first power play unit. So that's kind of a cool thing to see and to hear, that he could potentially be out there with the first power play unit in the playoffs. So kind of jumping right into the fire there, which would be awesome. So anyway, we'll chat more about that, next week. Hopefully after we get a few games in, see how things start playing out. But I'm hoping that the Wild don't get swept, but we'll see. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about Vikings draft. That's coming up next week. So I got to talk about that. And then we're going to finish up the show talking about the Lakers and Timberwolves matchups. But stick around. We'll be right back. You're watching the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? This is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, guys? If you're looking for the best coverage of all Northern California sports, including 49ers, Giants, Warriors, then check out the NorCal Sports Report with yours truly, Andre Fernandez, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We have guests every single week talking 49ers, Giants, Warriors, Sharks, San Jose Earthquakes, and a whole lot more, plus 3C2A. You do not want to miss this show. So tune in Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Time to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As I mentioned, when I went before I went to break, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the Vikings draft targets. But before I do that, I really got to get into the comments and also just give a shout out to everybody here. So first of all, Taryn Rodriguez, thanks for joining, and I really appreciate you being here. Taryn is the host of 2 shows here on IE Sports Radio, the Set Point, where he talks about everything volleyball. Definitely want to get on the show with him in the fall once the Gophers really start playing. I did watch a little bit of the Wisconsin Badgers had some spring matches on the Big Ten Network, which was really cool. So thanks for joining in, Taryn. And I see your other comment here about the Lakers and Wolves. I am going to try to get you on. I'd love to do a combo show with you at some point to talk about the Wolves and Lakers. But then also Mike here from the Indie Sports Nation. Big Mike, wondering about who the Vikings are going to draft, and thanks for the comments. Thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to it. Before I get too far into my talking about the Vikings draft, I do want to give a shout out again to the NorCal Sports Report with Andre Fernandez. I plugged his show during that break. But if you're looking for anything having to do with the San Francisco 49ers, the San Jose Sharks, Golden State Warriors, Sacramento Kings, any of those types of teams, he handles everything on the Northern California. Taryn takes care of everything Southern California. So between the two of them, they've got California covered. So definitely check out all of those shows. And so it's going to be again, we've got some great shows. So for me, as I think about sorry, Jess here, I gotta check out your comment here still too. So Jess, as a new host here in the IE Sports Radio Network, so welcome, Jess. So talking about Minnesota United, they are doing pretty well. I have not gotten a chance to check out their games. I do have a really good friend that goes to a lot of the games. He played soccer in high school and then college a little bit. And so he goes all the time. Beautiful arena or stadium, sorry, Allianz Field. It's just beautiful. So I will definitely check out the standings. I do think that they have usually been a pretty good team, but I don't always get in to see as many. I've yet to be in that stadium. So unfortunately, I'm going to rely on you a little bit. I'll do some digging on my own. So maybe next week I'll be able to talk a little bit more about the Minnesota United, find a way to get that into my show, but maybe probably after the draft, just because the draft is always crazy. So anyway, so for me, as I think about the draft, I've been following the drafts for almost 30 years, probably pretty regularly anyway. For the Vikings, I've been a huge Vikings fan my whole life. And I still remember where I was in 1998 when the Vikings drafted Randy Moss, and I'm sitting there in my apartment with a good friend of mine. We're watching the draft and we see Randy Moss dropping on the draft boards. I was thinking, okay, he's a top 5 talent in that draft where they had, Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf, Andre Wadsworth, who probably don't remember that name. Maybe some of the Arizona guys do. His career wasn't what it should have been. Charles Woodson, and then Randy Moss were kind of those top 5 players talent-wise in the draft. Anyway, so I still remember it back then. But for this season, the Vikings have the 24th pick. So usually, everybody always talks, take best player available, just best player available. But we all know that teams don't always just go by best player available. They go best player available at a position of need. Usually is kind of how they do that. The one thing about the Vikings and the situation that they're in is they had a lot of salary cap space. So they signed, some of the positions of need, defensive tackle, so interior defensive lineman to fit in with Brian Flores' defense, which has been fantastic the last couple of years. That was a need. They signed Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen to shore that up. Okay, cool. That spot's filled. But they're both in their, I think they're both sitting right around 30 years of age, both coming off some injuries. How healthy are they going to be? So that's the reason I have defensive tackle. It's kind of one of my main positions to look at. And also too, this is a good year for defensive tackle. So some interior defensive linemen that can really attack and provide some pressure in a quarterback's face, and to be able to develop into a player like Jonathan Allen or like Javon Hargrave, if he can mix it in with them this season, would be fantastic. So some guys that I'm thinking about at number 24 are guys like Walter Nolan, Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon. All three of those guys are probably going to be coming off the board in that number 24 range. Could be gone already, but maybe not. If they have their pick of all three, well, that'd be great. Because the Vikings only have 4 draft picks available to them. So they pick at number 24. They don't have a second round pick. They traded that last year to Houston so that they could move up to draft Dallas Turner last year, who didn't have a great season, but I think showed some flashes. And he was playing behind Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel. So he wasn't going to get a ton of playing time last year anyway. But I think he did really show the coaches that he's going to be a very good edge rusher, outside linebacker in that Brian Flores scheme. So those are some of the guys that I'm thinking at number 24. If they do happen to trade down, some of the other guys that I really like, Darius Alexander out of Toledo, kind of a smaller school guy, but really lit it up at the Senior Bowl. He was really showing what he could do there in the practices going against all the offensive linemen. Alfred Collins out of Texas would be another one that I think would be a really good fit for the Vikings in the second or third round. TJ Sanders out of South Carolina is another one that I think he's got some good quickness. You got some guys that are, the 6'3", 6'4", 300 pounds to be able to attack, a guard or center or whatever. Kenneth Grant would be, if I was to pick one player that I think would be a huge addition to the team, would be Kenneth Grant, simply because of his size. At 6'3", 330 pounds, and he's an athletic big man, but he's somebody that would need to be double teamed on pretty much every single play. So having a guy like that in the middle of the defense that has to be double teamed between a center and a guard on every single play that he's out there would be fantastic. He can rush the passer as well, so he's not just a big guy that just takes up 2 blockers, doesn't move upfield at all. He can do that. He can run down running backs from behind. I don't know if you've anybody's seen that video, but definitely can definitely do a lot of that too. So if we go with the defensive tackle, it'd be one of those 3 guys, I think. And again, if they trade down, they get a good offer to drop back into either the late first or into the early second with their first pick. I would not mind that at all, because to me, there's really 5 positions that I would love to see the Vikings address in the draft, and it's just really to get some youth in there and to help. For the future, I guess. So one would be, defensive tackle. Another would be defensive backs. First of all, you can never have too many cornerbacks. I know that they've got some guys. They've got some. They brought back Byron Murphy Jr. They signed Isaiah Rodgers. Looks like both of those guys are going to start on the outside. Mekhi Blackman coming off of second-year guy coming off of actually this will be his 3rd year. He was a rookie in 2023, tore his ACL at the beginning of training camp last year and missed the entire season. But he, as a rookie, he did fairly well playing in the slot. So I think he'd be, he's in the mix for that. They were able to sign Jeff Okudah, a highly drafted cornerback by the Detroit Lions, signed him to a 1-year deal. So I think, and I believe pretty much all of his contract is guaranteed. I think it was like a $1.2 million signing bonus and a guaranteed salary of 1.2 or right around that number. So I think it was about 2.4 total, 2.4, 2.5 somewhere, a little between 2 and 2.5. We'll just say that. But again, you can never have too many corners. And then at safety, We lost Cam Bynum to Indianapolis. He was a great player. Really loved having him here, but just couldn't afford to bring him back. So with that, they did bring back Theo Jackson, who was kind of the fourth safety on the team last year. Signed him to a 2-year extension. And then obviously, then we also have Josh Metellus, who's kind of the Swiss Army knife for the Brian Flores defense. He's always on the field, whether it's at, nickel corner or safety, linebacker, defensive end, defensive tackle. He played everywhere last year and played in a lot of different spots. So he's going to be a great player. But Harrison Smith is coming back for his is this his 13th or 14th year? I can't remember now, but he's coming back for another year. We got to find a replacement for him. So some guys that I think that should be kind of in the mix. Yeah, so Big Mike, sorry. Yeah, you got a great guy in Bynum. I'm really gonna miss him. He was a huge part of the locker room. I think they had a lot of fun with him. And then just Isaiah Rogers was there. He was there in Indy initially after he got drafted. I can't remember what round he was drafted in, but was there, got suspended for gambling. They released him. He signed with Philadelphia last year and played really well for the Eagles. So this was a guy, Isaiah Rogers was a guy that Brian Flores identified specifically for his defense. He's like, that's the corner that we should have. So I envision him being a day one starter on the outside, but we'll see. But so anyway, some of those defensive back targets that should be they should be looking at. Will Johnson, that's kind of a pipe dream. I don't think he'll be available at 24, but he hasn't been able to run yet, so I'm not sure exactly how far down the draft board he's going to go. For other teams, but we'll see. Jahdae Barron out of Texas, really like. I think he would be just a great fit there. But again, somebody could jump up ahead of the Vikings to draft him. Maxwell Harrison, soup out of Kentucky, just the guy can fly. I think he ran a 4.28 40. 6'2" or 6'1", 6'2", something like that. So he's got the size length that Brian Flores would want. Again, if they go with a corner, if they're looking at safeties, Nick Amanawari and Malachi Starks would be the two that could potentially be available in the first round at number 24. I would be happy with either of those. Amanawari out of South Carolina, he's just a physical freak. He's 6'3", 225 pounds, runs a 4.38 40. It can just cover so much ground. He hits like a linebacker, runs like a corner. He would be, I think they've compared him to Kyle Hamilton, which would be a fantastic addition to this team. Spend a year learning from Harrison Smith and Josh Metellus and those guys. And if he can learn and step into the starting role in 2026, well, that'd be great. But if you can, it's, again, my thing is let's get the best talent as a defensive back and defensive tackle. You're always going to be rotating those players in. So, because in my mind, you really want to be able to get somebody in the first round that can contribute in year one. Because unless you're drafting a quarterback to learn and develop, pretty much everybody else that you draft should be in the first round should be able to step in and contribute at some level. So we'll see about that. And then the other places on the interior offensive line. So, some guys there that could be available at number 24, guys like Tyler Booker, Gray Zabel, Kelvin Banks, maybe. Kelvin Banks, to me, is kind of an interesting one because I could see him going a lot higher than number 24. But I've seen a lot of mocks where he's been slipping down to about the number 24 area. In fact, there was one mock that I saw where the person who did the mock had the Vikings trading out of number 24, somebody else trading in to draft Kelvin Banks. And my response to that person was, why wouldn't the Vikings just take him? Because if he played tackle at Texas, it's more than likely going to be kicking into guard in the NFL. Well, I think he would be a perfect guy to potentially slot in at left guard because in free agency, the Vikings did invest a lot in interior offensive linemen. So they got rid of Garrett Bradbury. They brought in Ryan Kelly from Indianapolis, Will Fries from Indianapolis as well. Again, sorry, Big Mike. But those guys are both coming off some injuries. Left guard, last year was Blake Brandel for the Vikings. And he played pretty well until Christian Darrisaw tore his ACL. So Christian Darrisaw last year was phenomenal. He was one of the best left tackles in all of football up until he got hurt in the first game against the Los Angeles Rams where he tore his ACL. After that, Blake Brandel was not as solid of a player. But part of me thinks, okay, well, is he going to be, first of all, is Christian Darrisaw going to be back and healthy? If he is, okay, well, then we should be okay with Blake Brandel next to him. If he's not, then having a guy like Kelvin Banks, who could play left tackle in a pinch, but will probably end up kicking inside to guard, would be a good player to get in the draft. I forgot to talk about some of the defensive backs that would, like, if we were to trade down into the second or third rounds, some guys that I think I would like to see them target in those. Siobhan Ravel, as far as corners, out of East Carolina, coming off a torn ACL. Otherwise, if he had not gotten an ACL injury, let's go back to that. Talk about the defensive backs here. If he hadn't torn his ACL during the season, he would have been a top 15 pick. He's 6'2", can run fast, but tore his ACL. He hasn't really been able. I think he's been able to go through where the teams have seen the medicals, but I don't think he's actually worked out for all of the teams yet. So, another here comment from Big Mike. We weren't going to pay Fries. You'll like him. Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate that. And I was, I'm looking forward to seeing both of those guys play on the interior of the offensive line, because I've been complaining about the guard and center positions here for a couple of years, because Garrett Bradbury could get bowled over by just about anyone, or everyone. So as a defensive tackle. But anyway, some other guys as far as corners and safeties: Trey Amos from Notre Dame, Azariah Thomas, Jacob Parrish from K-State, Darian Porter. Darian Porter out of Iowa State is a very intriguing prospect to me, because he's 6'3" and runs a 4.28 or 4.29 40, I believe is what he ran at the combine. The issue is, a couple of things. Number one, he used to be a wide receiver, moved to corner, only started for one season as a corner. I think he's like 25 years old, though, so he's going to be probably 26 before the season starts. Anyway, so we'll see about those guys, but those are some of the guys that jump out at me. As far as safeties go, I like Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. It might be a nice transition going from Harrison Smith to Xavier Watts. You have that Notre Dame connection. We'll see. Other guys that they could potentially look at on a trade down would be Kevin Winston from Penn State, who was also coming off a partially torn ACL. He did have surgery on it, but that one doesn't seem as troubling. And then some other guys later on. Andrew Makuba and Billy Bowman. So Bowman went to Oklahoma, and Makuba played at Texas. So just some good safeties there in the middle, second to third rounds. I don't know if any of them are still going to be available at pick 97 when the Vikings pick, but in that second round, but we'll see. Anyway, so we're going to take another quick little break here and come back and talk about the Wolves and the Lakers, and kind of see where I'll give you my thoughts on how I think that series is going to go, some of the keys to it, and we'll see. I'm just gonna we'll have a little talk about just again what that series will look like coming up here. But again, you're watching the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So we'll be right back. Oh, sorry. There we go.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, Pittsburgh? This is Ralph Calise, the host of the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you that passionate diehard Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, or just a Pittsburgh sports fan? Then please join me on the Injury Report every Tuesday on IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for all that is sports, and I will update you on all that's black and gold. Have you telling your Pittsburgh fans and friends what's up with Pittsburgh sports. Tune in Tuesday with me, Ralph Calise, the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
All right. Welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So check out those shows. SoCal Supreme Sports Show with Taryn Rodriguez. Again, these does a fantastic job and covers everything Southern California related. And also Ralph Calise with the Yinzer Report, anything Pittsburgh related. He's got you covered. So, check out those shows. Great content. Love hearing from and watching all of those guys' shows. So, but let's talk a little bit about the Wolves and the Lakers. Okay. So I know that Taryn was on earlier and he had this little comment asking if I'm ready for the Lakers and Wolves in the NBA playoffs. And I am ready. Although I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I heard that Rudy Gobert has already picked up a foul because of Luka started complaining, or LeBron, I can't remember which one, started complaining a little bit about not getting a foul call already. So I think he's going to be starting out the game at the free throw line. we'll see. Anyway, it's going to be one of those things where, to me, the Wolves and the Lakers are going to be. I think it's going to be a really good series. I think it's kind of funny that, it's one of those things that Anthony Edwards really thrives on is being thought of as the underdog. Like he loves that. So when every single NBA analyst predicts the Lakers to beat the Wolves in this series, he's taking that personally, and he's going to be carrying he's going to be carrying that around, and he's going to be wanting to prove every one of those guys wrong, which is fantastic. I just love it. And the thing is, he's not. It's really surprising that everybody was so adamant that the Lakers are going to win, because when I look at the stats, yeah, the Lakers had one more win. They were 50-32. The Wolves were 49-33. So that's the difference between the third and the sixth seed was one game. But when you look at the stats, the Wolves were, I believe, a top 8 team in both offensive and defensive efficiency. They were a +5 in points per game. Let me look at my notes here again. Yeah, so the Wolves scored 114.3 points per game, gave up 109.3. The Lakers, on the other hand, scored 113.4, so over 1 point less per game over the course of the season, and gave up 112.2. So that's just a plus-minus differential of 1.2 points per game over the course of the 82-game season. Now, I know the team is different now that Luka's been traded there and was gifted by the Mavericks. But the team is, when you go position by position, I think the Lakers have the 2 of the 3 best players. I think it probably goes Luka's number one player, then it's Anthony Edwards, and then LeBron. LeBron's 40 years old. He's a legend. But when it comes to actual playing right now, I think it's Anthony Edwards. And he has come so far during this season when it comes to, first of all, 3-point shooting. He set up, his team record for the most threes made, led all of the NBA in 3-pointers made this season, edging out Malik Beasley from the Bucks. But he has learned to not rely so much on the threes, because I think the key for the Timberwolves is going to be similar to what it was last year against the Nuggets and against the Suns, was playing solid physical defense. If they're allowed to play defense physically and not blow the whistle every time somebody breathes too hard around LeBron or Luka, the Wolves have a great shot of winning the series, because they've got the better team overall, right? I mean, they've got at the point, you got Mike Conley, who's gives you about 20 minutes a game. That's about all you need, and it's about all he can do. He can hit a couple of threes. He's started out the year not hitting his threes very well, but as the season has gone on, he's really developed a really consistent 3-point shot. So that's been good. But when it comes to point guard, Conley versus Doncic, yeah, Doncic is obviously the better player, kind of head and shoulders above that. But I really think it's going to be Jaden McDaniels as the person who's going to be the primary on-ball defender of Doncic. And he showed last year in the Western Conference Finals against Dallas that he was able to hang with him pretty well. But it was, it was had Kyrie and Doncic, and trying to be able to keep up with both of those guys. And I thought that McDaniels did a pretty good job on Doncic. At shooting guard, you got Ant versus Austin Reeves. Yeah, we all know that. I think Anthony Edwards is the better player there. Now, Austin Reeves is a very good third player, which I'm surprised that he wasn't included in the Doncic trade along with Anthony Davis, because I think that they should have at least thrown him or Dalton Connect in on that trade. But I don't want to beat a dead horse or a dead Nico. I don't know how to phrase that, but anyway, but it's going to be interesting to see who guards Reeves, because I don't think it's going to be Anthony Edwards. It could be, but it could be Conley as well. So we'll see how all of that goes. At small forward, you got Hachimura for the Lakers and Jaden McDaniels. McDaniels, his last year he was all defense, very little offense. This year he's had a lot of really good improvement in his offensive game. He's more comfortable handling the ball and attacking the rim. So I think that's going to be a key for the Wolves, is to attack the rim, because the Lakers don't really have a shot blocker like the Wolves do in Rudy Gobert. Anyway, power forward, then it's going to be, I think, LeBron against Julius Randle, which will be an interesting matchup because both of them can play pretty physically, so it'll be interesting to see and they both are really good passers too. So Julius Randle early on in the season was somebody that I was not happy with. A lot of it was effort related. The second half of the season, since he came back from injury and got Rudy back from injury, and where he had everybody playing together again, he's been pretty good. He's been one of the better assist guys. He's got a fairly dependable 3-point shot. So when he catches it in rhythm, not forcing it, he's able to do that pretty well. But obviously, LeBron is LeBron. He's going to have that advantage. And then when it comes to the center position, I don't even know, like Jackson Hayes, are they going to start him, or are they going to try to go with small ball and have Hachimura, slide over to the that center position essentially, and bring in another guard, or maybe start Jared Vanderbilt, which would be an interesting choice. Jared Vanderbilt, former Timberwolf, was a really good high energy player, but definitely not the offensive threat that that you would worry about. But he's a good rebounder, and he's kind of an agitator. Like, he just likes to get under people's skin, and so we'll see how well that goes, because I know that so when you think about the 4 matchups between the teams this season, the teams are so different from all 4 of those matchups, because Luka wasn't on the team, the first couple, and then the last one he was, but the Wolves didn't have Rudy, they didn't have Randall, they were both injured, so playing with Naz Reid at the center, and I think McDaniels was starting at the power forward, and then let me see, I think it could have been Nickeil Alexander-Walker, or even Jalen Clark started some games there as well when they were dealing with some of those injuries. But anyway, I digress. But looking at it, I think McDaniel, Edwards, and Rudy have an advantage in their particular positions. Doncic and LeBron, have an edge at their positions. But when it comes to the bench, I think it's hands down the Wolves bench is better than the Lakers. When you think about Dante DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid, which I gotta try and get one of those banners, that Naz Reid banners, to hang up behind me, but I'll see if I can find one. Gotta have to go on to like eBay or something like that. Anyway, all 3 of those guys can hit threes. They play really well as a team. The level of play does not drop off very much when those guys come off the court. And even if you throw in Jalen Clark, Jalen Clark was if anybody gets into foul trouble when it comes to just with the backcourt players, I think Jalen Clark's going to be somebody that gets some playing time as well. He is a high energy defensive player. He's not going to score a ton, but he's going to play smart. He'll get some steals. He'll get some layups. He plays really, really smart basketball, and I think he could end up helping the team should any of those backcourt guys get into foul trouble. He can definitely fill in. Whether it's shooting guard, small forward, point guard, whatever. But he could guard an Austin Reeves. He could guard Doncic, or he's not afraid to guard any of those guys. So, and then when you look at the bench for LA, and I'm like, okay, they've got Jared Vanderbilt, Dalton Connect, Dorian Finney-Smith. Yeah, that's. I don't know. I'm scared of Doncic and LeBron, but unless the referees change how they call games in the playoffs, because usually it's playoff basketball, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit more physical, and if they allow the teams to be physical, I think that plays into the favor of the Timberwolves. They're used to playing a physical style of basketball. I know last year with Devin Booker, Jamal Murray, those guys were just so flustered by the defense of Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels. When I think it was Booker that threw the heat pack onto the floor because he was so frustrated in that first series against the Suns. Those guys can really play physical and stuff. So in my mind, I think the Wolves are going to win. I don't know how many games it's going to go, but it's not going to be a sweep. It's not going to be a 5-game series. It's probably going 6 or 7. But I do think in the end, the Wolves are going to pull it out versus the Lakers. So that's my thoughts there. Other things to talk about here. Twins, we're at the point in the season where like, hey, they got a 2-game winning streak and they didn't play today. So they went 3 days without losing. Good job, Twins. I'm not a huge fan of the Twins. Again, the ownership group is just not very, very good. But one huge thing that is happening is Luke Keeschel is being called up because of all the injuries to the Twins. So Luke Keeschel is one of the highly rated prospects, one of the better hitting prospects in the AAA team. So this picture, if you can see it, is a picture that my son took. He has credentials to go to all of the St. Paul Saints games this year. So this is from a St. Paul Saints game earlier this season that he went to. Get a picture of Luke Keeschel swinging the bat. And I think here's another one just in the batter's box as he's getting ready. But anyway, so those are a couple of great pictures that Noah has taken and stuff. So, but that is it for my show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, this is the Gold North Breakdown here on is my schedule is going to be different next week. I am going to be going to a work conference in Columbus, Ohio. So I'm going to be doing my show on Wednesday of next week. So I'm going to do it before the draft. So I'm not going to be able to actually watch the draft live next week. I'm going to try to after I get to my conference, but it might be a little bit of a challenge. So I might have to be following along on my phone. But anyway, so a big change next week. Again, thanks to all the sponsors. So it'll be the same time, but just a different day of the week next week. Wednesday instead of Thursday, but still at 7:00. Again, thanks to all the sponsors: Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Again, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all of those. Become a subscriber. You can follow me here again, bold_North_IESR. It's my X handle here for the Bold North Breakdown, and then my personal handle is Gritter13. So you can hear some of my, see some of my my feedback there, my opinions on sports. And again, if you want to become a sponsor, I encourage you to do that. $5 a month. Help support my show, help support all the other shows that we have here on the IE Sports Radio Network. You can do that by going to www.spreaker.com/podcast/the Bold North Breakdown with a hyphen in between each of those words. But also, let me just put that up on the screen so that you can see it, so I can just keep it up here. Then you don't need to try to see it as it's scrolling by. But yeah, definitely. And if you become a supporter, again, it's $5 a month. And what I will do is I will have you. First, I'll do a shout out to you every single show. Have you on at least once a month during that time, and stick around for a few months. We'll work on getting you some IE Sports Radio gear. We're looking to do a fun thing with some of those, getting some that are kind of different colors. So based on the city that we're in. So if you're supporting the Bold North Breakdown, we're going to try to get some that are like purple, have some purple to it. But anyway, that's one of the great things that we're working on here on the IE Sports Radio Network. So check all of those things out. Again, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate all of the questions, the comments. It was great to see everybody tuning in and asking questions. Jess, I hope to. I'm going to make sure to have some Minnesota United stuff to talk about here soon. And if you want to come on and talk to me, do a little segment together, I look forward to doing that. Anyway, as always, have a wonderful week. This is Glen Ritter with the Bold North Breakdown, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Bye, everyone.